Hey, time once again for Daily Distinction. How's everybody doing today? Great to have you here. It is Wednesday, straight up 12 o'clock noon here on the West Coast and 3 o'clock back east. I hope you are having a great day so far today as we continue along with Daily Distinction. Man, I had such a thrill today. I had the privilege of being Ken Walls' guest on his streaming live show. And it was really, really terrific. I really enjoyed being with Ken. We were supposed to talk, we were going to talk 45 minutes or so, ended up being on for an hour and a half. It was really, really a great experience and a great show. And gosh, what a privilege. We had so many folks chiming in. So if you haven't seen it yet, if you weren't with us this morning, I'd invite you to check out my friend Ken Walls. Just search for him on Facebook is a great way to find it. Just Ken Walls, and just like Farron Young sang the Willie Nelson hit, Hello Walls, Walls. Just check that out. And Ken's show is really terrific. He's on every day, just like I am. He's on multiple times every day. He's everywhere. So check it out. It was really a privilege to be his guest today. Don't know how we're doing with comments yet because I haven't seen any comments come up. So if you are posting, it's not showing up here. So we may be back in that same boat that we were earlier with the problems with Facebook and all that good stuff. If you just now joining us and you hadn't seen this before, Facebook kind of changed an algorithm. And so third-party programs like Ecamm, I use a program called StreamYard is what we're on. They weren't able to see and share the comments. So I'm going to pull up Facebook here and see what I can find here, because if you're commenting, I apologize. We haven't seen. Oh, we got some folks coming in now. Hey, Bruce, good to see you. Yes, they are coming through. Good. So appreciate that. That's very cool. So thank you, Bruce. Yes, hump day, whatever it is right now. Robert, it's great to see you. Thank you for being here. And thanks for everybody for watching. So if you get a chance, check out Ken's show. Also, if you were one of the 3 folks that won yesterday, and Talene, I haven't seen you. You were a winner yesterday of a book. And Bruce, thank you for sharing. Please get me your address where I need to send the books to, because Tammy's going to take care of that and get books out to you if you were one of the winners of the book Iconic yesterday. And please hang in here because we're going to have some more giveaways. The week is over. Got a couple cool giveaways only for viewers, and we're going to announce one of them tomorrow. So that's coming up too. Hey, Tom, great to see you. Thank you for being here. Thanks to everybody joining in and watching today. I really appreciate it. We're going to talk about 3 things that everybody needs to know as you prepare, as you get ready, as we commence with the post-pandemic economy and the challenges that we're all going to be facing there with the post-pandemic economy. What does it take to get ready for that? What does it take to help us prepare so that I truly believe that what we're doing now is going to create our success or failure after this is receded a bit, right? I mean, what we are doing now is going to determine our success or our failure as we move forward. It's the seeds that we're planting now that we're going to harvest later. So we got to be careful about what we're planting. If we're planting, fear and if negativity and those kinds of things, that's what we're going to harvest later on. So I'm not talking. One thing I do resent, I've got to be honest, that has bothered me and I do resent, is the indication by some on social media that those who choose to stay home are doing so because they're fearful. I think there's different kinds of fear. I think one is the paralyzing fear that prevents you from taking actions that you need to take in your life. But I also think there's a healthy fear. If I see a rattlesnake on the trail in front of me, I think I should have a bit of fear. If I'm hiking in the Smoky Mountains and a bear pops out in front of me, I think I should have a bit of fear. To not respond in that way is not a reasonable response. And it's been made into almost a feeling that if you stay home, it's because you're afraid. as if it's something. I don't think that's the case. And I think it's negative to say that about people. I don't want any of us to be paralyzed. If I choose to stay home, it is because that is the choice that I have made from a logical, reasonable approach. I'm not discounting your choices. I'm just saying that's the choice that I would make. So to put somebody down by saying they're fearful if they don't do what you do, to me seems a little bit over the top. Let people make their decisions. We'll talk more about that. This show is not about the pandemic. It's about how we respond to it. I don't mean that to be negative at all, but just want to mention that. Let's not resort to putting folks down because of the choices that they make. My goodness, Debbie Mayer, how are you? I haven't seen you forever. Great to see you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Good grief. It's been how many years? Holy cow. Great to see you. Glad you're watching. Glad you're here. Hey, Phil, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Joe, prudently protecting yourself is taking responsibility for your health. Joe, you said it better than I could. That's exactly what the sentiment I was looking for. Protecting yourself prudently is taking responsibility for your health. It's not based in fear. It's based in responsibility. That's your choice, and that's a good thing. Yeah, Deb, it's been many. So it's great to see you. I hope all is well with you, and hope health is good and everything is good with you. I appreciate that. Hey, and if you missed yesterday too, we've got a couple great guests. I mean, fantastic guests that are going to be coming up. I'll keep you posted on that on our fan page, which is Daily Distinction on Facebook. But a couple great guests for you, such as my great pal, Joe Bonsall. Joe is one of the Oak Ridge Boys, and Joe is going to be here with us. He's lining up the dates. I should be getting a text from him about any time. He'll let us know when he's going to be here. He has agreed to join me. He is a great friend of mine, has been for a long time, 40-year plus member of the Oak Ridge Boys. He's going to be one of our guests coming up soon. Derek Kinslow is the road manager for the Oak Ridge Boys. And Derek is one of my best friends too. And he is so smart and so good. And part of what we're going to be talking about with Derek that I think is really unique is here's a guy that's been involved in the concert business for many years. He grew up in it, and now he is the road manager of one of the busiest acts on the planet. And all of a sudden they hit this brick wall, right? There's no concerts. And so it's going to be one of the latter things to come along in this recovery. And so we're going to be talking about a couple of things with Derek that I think are really going to be great. Number one, what's the future hold for public events? For, what are they hearing at their level, dealing with some of the highest levels in terms of when concerts are going to be rearranged and rescheduled. So we're going to learn more about that. And then also about teamwork. I mean, he works with a group that's been together for so many. How do you get a team to function not only effectively for a short period of time, but for goodness sakes, how long they've been together? So looking forward to talking to Derek about that. On Monday, for sure, we got Phil Jones. And Phil is a great pal as well. He is the author of an amazing book called Exactly What to Say. And Phil will be joining us from the United Kingdom. He'll be our guest on Monday's Daily Distinction. So excited about that. Hey, Sheila, glad you're back. We missed you the last few days. Hope things are great with you. Megan, oh my gosh. We can't wait for you to reopen here in Vegas so we can all get together and say hi and catch up. Holy cow. Megan is with the Station Casinos, and she is, I don't know, Megan, what I would call your title Imperial Poobah. I think you're a goddess of Hank's, one of the great steak places anywhere, and particularly here in Vegas. So it's always great to see you, Megan. We miss you. So we want to talk about what you can do during this pandemic to get prepared for what's coming and what the future is going to be, and what we need to do to find ways to be more productive. See, as I said earlier, what we do now is going to make all the difference in the world about what happens later, right? You've heard me use the analogy before about the farmer. And if the farmer goes to the field and says, hey, I need a good crop, there's not going to be any crop. You got to go plant some seeds to make that happen. So the seeds that we are planting now, what we are doing now is going to make all the difference in the world. And so let's talk about some of the things that we need to be doing now to make a difference. So goddess was not the appropriate term. Okay. So regardless of what business you're in, whether you're a bartender at Hank's or whether you are an executive with a big organization, whatever it might be, I think here are three things that we need to focus on. Here's number one. The first thing I think you need to do is to play to your strengths. So many times what we try to do as we're going through a crisis is to fix our weaknesses. Yet what really makes us stand out in the marketplace is our strengths, not our weaknesses. I mean, think about this. If you have, let's say you have a son, and this son is an amazing pitcher, can really throw the baseball, is an amazing pitcher. Why would you spend a lot of time trying to make him a right fielder? Spend all the time improving his ability to pitch. Focus on the strengths. There's no reason to make a pitcher into a right fielder. Help him be the best pitcher he could possibly be. If you have, it doesn't matter. There's a million examples that go with that. But we tend to try to want to focus on our weaknesses. We take these studies, we take these surveys, we think, oh boy, I need to really work on this because I'm not very organized, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. And we focus on the nots instead of what we are. So as we're coming out of this, what you need and what your community needs and what the world needs are your strengths. The strengths are the seeds that you were planting, as we've talked about in terms of the planting metaphor, right? So your strengths are what you're going to be able to plant. So focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. Find ways to play to your strengths. If you're currently in a difficult job situation, part of what you need to focus on is, what are my strengths? Because that's why somebody would hire you. You know, somebody isn't going to hire you because, hey, hire me so I can work on my weaknesses while you're paying me. That makes no sense at all. What people are hiring for are your strengths. So play to your strengths. Find specific ways that play to your strengths. Here's the second thing I think you need to do, and that is to innovate. Innovate. Now, innovation is a big word. It's been talked about so much. It's one of the hottest topics in all of business. Certainly was before the pandemic. I think it's going to be after the pandemic. How do we innovate in this challenging and critical time? But it seems so overwhelming that many of us just keep doing what we're doing. We're creatures of habit, so we keep going back and doing what we've always done. And, you know, you've heard it a million times as well. Isn't that the definition of insanity, right? Continuing to do the same thing, but expecting a different result. So we know we need to innovate. We know we need to change something. We know we need to alter our approach if we want to improve our results. There's no other way around it. So innovation becomes critical, but it's also something that makes us fearful. So how do we innovate? Well, I want to suggest that one of the ways that you can start thinking about innovation is to kind of take yourself out of it, as strange as that may seem. To take yourself out of it. Got a friend who was a songwriter, and she wrote a huge, huge #1 hit. And one of the things that she said is, and the hit was sung by Faith Hill. When she thought about Faith Hill singing it, she got more creative than when she thought about herself singing it. We see this all the time. If you would think about, how would Steve Jobs run my business instead of me? If Amazon bought my business, how would they run my business as opposed to the way that I'm running it right now? When we put ourselves in the place of someone else, we don't do it for the purposes of imitation as much as we do it for emulation. By that I mean, we're not going to try to be a carbon copy of someone else. But what we can do is put ourselves in their place. We were talking about mentorship on one of our programs of the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott, which, by the way, if you aren't watching, I really, really hope that you do. It's Ken Walls that I was talking about earlier, and Glenn Morshower, the great character actor from the TV series 24 and from the Transformer movies and currently from Fox Television's The Practice. So on one of our previous shows, we were talking about mentors. And all of us had been fortunate enough to have a mentor, someone in our lives that helped us out, that showed us the way, that made a difference. But what happens if you don't have that? And one of the things that, as I've studied this, that I've realized is that you don't necessarily have to know your mentor. My buddy Joe Calloway sent me an email this morning, and he's really into this book of Andrew Jackson. And it's a biography of Andrew Jackson. It's very detailed and very thorough. And it struck me as I was reading Joe's message that, Andrew Jackson could be your mentor, because you can look at how he approached things and adapt and adopt it to how you do things. You could read a book on Winston Churchill. You could read a book on Marie Curie. You could read a book on Golda Meir. You could read a book on Maya Angelou. You could read a book on any number of people who have attained success and analyze what did they do, and then envision if they were in your situation at this particular time. So in other words, how would Martin Luther King handle this current situation that you're in? Think about him in the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, and as the minister, as the CEO of that church. How would he handle this situation? What would he do? Those are questions that we can ask ourselves, because the psychological term for it is transpositional thinking, is trying to transpose how you would think into thinking like someone else, to give yourself the tools that it takes to innovate in that challenging situation. So innovation is always number two. Hey, Ted, great to see you here. Yeah, number one was play to your strengths, and it'll be there on the replay. I appreciate that. Hey, I'm just glad you're here. Whenever, better late than never, right? I appreciate you being here. Thank you for that. Innovation is something we have to look at. It's the second of the three things that's going to really, really help us for the post-pandemic economy. Third one is one I think is probably the most important of the three. Certainly, it's critical for all of us, and that is to hold ourselves and others accountable. If we don't hold ourselves accountable, then we don't push ourselves enough to do the things that it takes to stand out, to achieve what we want. Look, no one is loyal, no customer, talking from a business sense, no customer has ever been loyal to a generic. There's no customer ever that said, I love these guys, they're exactly like everybody else. If they're exactly like everybody else, then you're not loyal to them. You don't care, right? But when they create a difference in the marketplace is when you're attracted to them to repeat your business and refer your business. Wherever we are and whatever we are doing, it is absolutely critical that we hold ourselves accountable. If you say, I'm going to do this, then you need to hold yourself accountable to get it done. And there needs to be benefits and penalties whether or not you get it done. That's just how we have to proceed. But I also think it's important to hold others accountable as well. It's not fair for you to hold yourself accountable and let everybody else in your life off the hook. If someone else says something, then you have every right, if they've made some kind of promise, if they've made that promise to you, then you have every right to hold them accountable for the promises that they have made. In the book Iconic, I talk about promise and performance and what customers judge us on. And I didn't say this in the book, but I think it's true in our personal relationships too, is the congruence between the promise and performance. In other words, if I promise you something, you're going to judge me based upon how I have performed based on that promise I've made. So if I said, I'll pick you up every day at 8 a.m. and at 7:59 every day, I'm waiting for you and pick you up every day, you know what? You go, that guy's reliable. That guy is solid because the promise he made was the performance he delivered. But if I say, I'm going to pick you up every day at 8 o'clock, and one morning I'm there at 8, and then the next morning I'm there at 15 after, and then the next day I don't show up, what do you do? That guy's dizzy. That guy, he's unreliable. There's nothing to him, right? Because the performance didn't match the promise. So what we have to do is to hold ourselves accountable that the promise and the performance are congruent. But there's nothing wrong with holding others to that too. If one of the places where you do business promises something, you have every right to hold them accountable for the performance. So the promise and the performance have to work together. Let's catch up here on some of the comments. Yeah, a mentor could be anyone you study and follow, anyone who's thinking and whose actions influence you. One of the things, Ted, you probably read it. One of the things I've written about is that I have a reverse mentor. In other words, we've tended to think of mentors as being older professionals who can show a younger professional the ropes and help guide the way. But the world is changing so rapidly, and there's so much, not just in technology, but in everything, that I think if you're not up to date on that, you are in great danger of being irrelevant. I mean, that scares me more than, death concerns me. Irrelevance terrifies me. So what we have to do is to find a way to stay current, to stay relevant. And so I have a mentor who's a young millennial that I learn from him about what's going on. And he mentors me in what's happening currently as hopefully I can help him with some things that I've seen through my experience. So a mentor is anyone, older or younger, that you can study and follow. Joe, great service experiences begin by imagining and innovating new possibilities that didn't exist before. Yeah. And let me add to that, Joe. And the other thing is that might not have existed before in your particular area. So as I said before, Enterprise Rental Car thinks, what if we brought the car to you rather than you coming to get the car? Great idea. Boom, they become the biggest in their industry. Which in turn, it's almost like Jeff Bezos said, what if Enterprise Rental Car ran the book business? And that was the genesis of Amazon. What if you didn't have to go to the bookstore to get the book? What if we brought the book to you rather than making you go get the book? And then once it worked with books, they realized it worked with everything, right? So that's where that goes. And some of you heard me say in Austin, Texas, there is a dental office that's on a trailer and they bring it to your cul-de-sac. So to go to the dentist, you just walk out in the middle of the cul-de-sac and there's the dental office. So what if we brought the dental office to, it can be anything. It can be anything. And it means that they didn't exist before in your particular area. So innovation could be in that, what if Amazon ran our business? What if Steve Jobs ran our business? What if Elon Musk ran our business? What if we were the enterprise rental car of whatever? Those are critical questions to ask and critical thinking that we need to do to get here. Diane, yeah, old-fashioned customer service is the best, isn't it? Set expectations, exceed them, look like a hero to the client. Absolutely, absolutely. So those are the three things that we need to be thinking of. Those three things that we need to do. Let's review. Number one, play to your strengths, not your weaknesses. As we move through this pandemic, people will respond to the strengths, the seeds that you can plant to build a better crop, the things that you can do to make for a better future. Second, innovate. What could you do? And it doesn't mean you throw the baby out with the bathwater. It doesn't mean you blow everything up. It means you find one specific thing that you could innovate with, one specific action that you could take that could make a difference. So innovate. And third and finally, hold yourself, and you have the right to hold others accountable. Do they do what they say they will do when they said they would do it? To quote my pal, Larry Winget. That's how you make this happen. Hey, don't forget, for free resources, all you need to do is go to distinctionnation.com. Distinctionnation.com has a free 14-day audio program on how you make all of this work. It's there for you absolutely free. There's ebooks, other resources. Just go in and sign up. Love to have you be there with us on Distinction Radio, on Distinction Nation. And if you want to hear more, just go to Distinction Radio. It's on 24/7 with ideas about what it takes to deliver the ultimate customer experience and create distinction in your marketplace. You can just say to your Amazon device, ALEXA. I'd say that so mine won't turn on. And I said it the other day, and I had about 3 emails going, you made my ALEXA. Go off there because it heard you saying it over my computer. So go there to say play or open Distinction Radio. Hey, one other reminder, join our Facebook page. Just search for Daily Distinction, one word, sign up, and love to have you there. Sign up for Daily Distinction. And don't forget, we got some great upcoming guests. Joe Bonsall of the Oak Ridge Boys will be with us soon. Phil Jones is going to be with us on Monday. Derek Kinslow will be joining us soon. Got some other guests that we're working on that's going to be very, very special. So we've got a whole bunch of good stuff coming your way. So that does it for us for today. Thanks, everybody. As always, I can't thank you enough for taking time to watch and be a part of this. Thank you for sharing. Nothing more important for us. First, most important things that you watch and that you participate. Second, most important things that you share, because that's how we build and grow. And thanks to those 3 winners from yesterday who won a signed copy of Iconic for sharing. So we'll have some more free goodies for you tomorrow too, by the way. Really excited about that and looking forward to that. Hey, Jeff, great to see you as always. Thanks to everybody that pitched in here today. I really appreciate it. And hey, we're going to have more to come again tomorrow. I'll look forward to seeing you then right here on Daily